Welcome to DTV. I'm joined by Jade Rawlings, who'll be previewing this week's clash against the Gold Coast Suns. And Jade, good to be chatting with you, mate, after a win. What's it been like amongst the boys at the club?
It's been good, but it's been consistent in line with what the way the last 4 weeks has been, actually. It was good to see smiles on players' faces and feel rewarded and vindicated for all their effort on Saturday. But, yeah, after training and reviewing, it's been very consistent, similar way it's been the last 3 weeks. But so it's been pleasing that it hasn't been too much of a step ahead of ourselves because we're coming from a fair way back.
Your boys down back, it was probably a bit of a relief to not be under the pump as much. How have you seen your boys so far?
I think they've been pretty good the first 4 weeks. I actually thought on the weekend they were good collectively, but a few of the individuals probably weren't as sharp as what they've been in the first 3 weeks, which is ironic. But I thought to keep the Blues to 3 marks inside 50 from high 40-odd entries is a good effort, and I think we kept most of their forwards reasonably quiet. I thought Yaron gave us a bit of trouble, but generally the players were able to negate their best players, and yeah, I think we were able to play our role within the win.
It's been a bit of an interesting time for the defenders. Of course, you've lost Frawley and Dunn up forward. What's that been like as a backline coach to lose, I guess, two of your keys, but also in the process gain Jeremy Howe and Cam Pedersen?
Yeah, well, I'm very protective of the group. Become very close over the last 3 seasons, but after the way we started and what we lacked probably ahead of the ball, there's no doubt we needed to change what it looked like, both the personnel and the structure of the team. And yeah, you lose one, but you gain one. So we get Howe, who's really invested within the group and had a good couple of weeks, and Dunn and Frawley have gone and played roles at the other end of the ground, but it's given Giorgio more exposure. It's required McDonald to be more of a leader and more a senior player, and Turlick. So yeah, when you lose one thing, you can gain others, and that's the way we've looked at it. And yeah, it's balanced our team out really well in the last 2 weeks.
As a coach, when you've gone through a summer of training and working with the guys, and then you get a guy like Howe, who is a sort of a spectacular type player up forward, but coming down into your group, how does that sort of alter the whole picture?
Yeah, well, it's really difficult when there's no history of having trained back, but to Jeremy's credit, he's really invested within our group, and he's been a very good listener, because every time out in the ground that he's been a little bit unsure, the players have been really strong with what they've wanted from him, and he's reacted accordingly. And I've actually got a really good relationship with his father, and he's been telling me for 2 years that Jeremy could be a good half-back, which I've strongly disagreed with, but his last 2 games have shown that he's got really good aptitude for backline play, and yeah, I've been pleased with what he's done so far.
You've worked closely with Chip Frawley, of course. Were you surprised at how well he went up forward last week, or it's no surprise given his type of style of play?
I'm not shocked that he played well up there the last 2 weeks. To be able to have 14 marks and 25 possessions and be maybe the match winner was probably above the expectations, but he's just been able to transfer a lot of the skill sets he's acquired as a backline player into being a forward line player, and he's very, very powerful. He's probably the 2 players, most powerful players I've worked with as a coach are Daniel Merritt and James Frawley, and both have shown when they go forward that because of that speed and power, they can get separation. And yeah, I think his hand's been good and his follow-up work's been good as well. So it's been a real win so far, but just being able to play the role. Some weeks it leads to being a best on, and other weeks it's just a matter of grinding it out and competing as hard as you can.
And for James, it was a big week last week, of course. Talked about a fair bit in the media with his contract situation. How do you sort of deal with all those factors as a coach and sort of helping him out?
Yeah, it's all external. It's not my role to interfere in contract talks. If I ever felt like it was a distraction for a player, then it's probably a time where you'd intervene. But yeah, as long as it's about his preparation and about to compete and perform on game day, that's all external pressure. And to the naked eye and just knowing him as well as I do, he seems to be handling it fine. And I think he understands that a lot of it's a lot of beat up, but most importantly, he's performing for us, and that's what we want to judge him on.
And do you think you'll get him back or Dunny at some point, or are they going to be permanent fixtures now, given also Mitch's retirement?
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen. It's just so hard to forecast what it'll look like in the future. I would think one of the 2 definitely will be coming back pretty soon, especially with the impending debut of Hogan at some stage. But for the balance of the team, it could be best to keep both of them forward. So whilst we can hold up, down, back, maybe it's best to keep them forward. But yeah, our decisions as a coaching group will determine that over the next game or 2.
And good to have one of your boys back, albeit coming back slowly, Cole Garland in the VFL2s last week.
Yeah, well, his rehabilitation's been quite extensive to make sure that there was a pretty severe ankle injury that he had, and make sure that he's absolutely ready to go and cherry ripe. So the first step forward from a playing perspective, and yeah, he approached that level of footy really well and performed as you'd probably hope and expect. So next few steps, playing VFL seniors, and let's hope by round 7, 8, 9 that he's about to play senior footy and then stay in for the rest of the year.
2 in a row. It's a big challenge for the boys this week, and of course against the Suns. How's it been? Has it been a real focus, sort of saying this is a great opportunity to get the first 2 wins in a long time for the club?
Yeah, we haven't spoken about winning. It's just more about an extension of how we performed last Saturday, which I think most Melbourne people and footy public would see there was effort and consistent effort for 4 quarters, and from there our style and our expectations all kicked in. So there'll be an extension of that. We really capitalise on the building blocks of last Saturday against Carlton, and different opposition, different way of playing, and let's hope that we bring the same attitude and effort, and let's see where it takes us.
All right, mate. Well, great chatting as always, and thanks for your insight, and best luck for this weekend.
Thanks, Brooks.